Hello, today we're going to look at 533 West Park Street, kind of a popular property. It's a split use. It's both commercial and residential property, fairly close to the Hummingbird, so it's gotten a lot of people's attention. Amongst in this, we are going to discuss some financing issues as far as purchasing and financing the purchase, or also financing any construction cost into the property. This one kind of comes up interesting when you look at the overall financing of the property, and we can discuss that further.
Hello and welcome to the Lucrative Landlord. This is a casual and unrehearsed evaluation of real estate investment property. No representation to buy or sell any property is being made. This evaluation is for educational purposes. No bids are offered and all numbers are estimates. To receive weekly updates and property evaluations, please visit and subscribe at lucrativelandlord.com.
So a lot of people have asked about this one. This is here on 533 West Park Street. It's got quite a lot of visibility. It's very close to the Hummingbird Cafe, and people have been inquiring about it quite a bit. Number one question is, does it include the parking lot next door? No, that is the Hummingbird's property, Hummingbird Cafe. So the property line's somewhere here in the middle. It does not have that parking. In the back, there is some room off of the alley where somebody could definitely put with a little bit of work, do some off-street parking availability. As a result of having a parking lot next door and plenty of stuff on the street and kind of nearby in this other side street that runs along here, parking's not really a problem over here for the most part at the moment. General exteriors are in really poor condition, in need of both some woodwork and some paint, and a little bit of structural issues or stuff. Nothing terrible on the outside, but as you can see, there's been some water infiltration and stuff historically, and it needs a little cosmetic work. It needs a lot of cosmetic work. The roof on this is fairly new, within the last 1, 2, 3 years or so. So you can see along here they've done some cement parging of the foundation / whatever this is. There's quite a bit of settlement that we'll see as we get inside. I was not able to get into the basement in this one, partially because the hatch going to the basement, the floor was so kind of bulging and buckled that it pinched the hatch going to the basement so tight that you would have needed a crowbar or two to get the hatch open. And so I did not get a good view in there. We need to, if this is something you're looking at, definitely take a look at this basement a little bit more. A lot of evidence of settling. The floors are pretty uneven throughout the property. Here's a look on the east side in between the two buildings. Stairs need some general work and whatnot, pretty typical of a property of this age. So this property is set up as a triplex. The lower unit was made commercial. I'm told that this is set up as commercial, but it was not taxed commercially as far as I could tell, the whole property. But they had put some sort of salon down here in the downstairs. Upstairs is made up of 2 shotgun apartments. They need total remodels, so maybe somebody would possibly want to take it down from 2 upstairs units into a single unit and make this whole property a duplex or something. But the way this is currently set up downstairs is there's this little hair salon studio space in here. As you can see, there was some water infiltration. I'm not sure where this came from. I don't know if this was from a roof leak in the past or something seeping up through the wall, which is usually what you see, because this is kind of subterranean here against this wall. This is lower than the outside. Nothing fancy, lots of linoleum and whatnot, cosmetic work, but again, it's always in the corners for some reason, and it seeps in through the brick, through the foundation, gets into that plaster. This is kind of bad news. I don't necessarily know how to fix this one if it wasn't coming down from the roof. And there's just nowhere to really tell at this point. It was not wet at the moment, and we've had some wet days here. Nothing fancy, just some kind of general condition stuff of this downstairs unit. So now we're upstairs. This is going to be the west side unit. As you can tell, this is not move-in ready by any means. There's a lot of love needed here. I don't know if I would keep this as a one bedroom studio situation, two of them on the top floor. If I just make it into one big unit, kind of some general stuff. You can see the ceiling's been ripped out. Anybody want some 1962 hair dryers? Just general condition. Here's kind of what the property, areas that haven't been gutted out. It's not all been gutted out, but it needs to be. There's not much you can do with this stuff. There's a lot of electrical that have been run, but I fear that, I kind of think that if you were to gut this thing out, you just wind up redoing the electrical. The electrical just wasn't in a situation where you could really salvage any of it. And yeah, so bathrooms are needed, the plumbing. This is the east side upstairs unit. This is the kitchen. As you can see, there's quite a bit of work. This is kind of this weird concrete flooring here, and then it went out to this spot. There's a lot of work to be done here. Electrical panel looked good. But again, all this wiring runs and whatnot. I don't know that I trust whoever did this work before. And by the time you gutted all the walls out and redid stuff, I think you'd wind up just starting over with this. But the electrical panel is possibly good in the spot. It is in the kitchen, which is not where it's supposed to be. It really needs to be flipped around into the other side of the room, so it's not in a location where there's any water. Yeah, it's kind of a flop house prior. Nothing great to see here on the inside. As you can see, a lot of the doors and everything are pretty hammered out. Let's look at the numbers. So it is not in the opportunity zone, but it is in the URA zone. It's just right there on the boundary, so that helps out quite a bit. Here's my estimates of what the market rents would be. They're small, no matter how you make them. Maybe you can shoehorn them into doing my favorite thing where you walk into the front room and have a kitchen living space combo, then there's a hallway to a bathroom, and then put a bedroom in the back of the property. But it's going to be pretty tight on this one. There's not a lot of room. The footprint of the structure is not terribly big. So no matter what you do, you're looking at kind of lower end apartments just because they're so small. Maybe you can jump this up to $495 or so, but and then downstairs, I'm assuming you leave it as a commercial space. It could be also made into a residential space where you have a 2-bedroom, and so you're kind of looking at maybe $650 or so. So across all three of these numbers are pretty solid, one way or another, of what somebody could do with this and current market rents. Taxes, the user fees were approximately about where they needed to be. It was a little crazy because of that commercial unit. This particular one has a mortgage payment based on the financing of just the purchase price of this property and not the improvements. There's a significant amount of improvements in here. I did calculate this out with financing this as a construction loan as well, so it'll all be lumped in. So we'll go over that as we get into it. Pretty standard numbers on the other side. Depreciation stuff, numbers kind of come out with where we generally see them. They're generally around that 450 to 650 mark. So capital expenditure, I figured every bit of 90 grand needed to be spent on this property. You would expect it to be more, but it is only a 3-plex and it's a very small footprint. And so it's, not needing a whole, well, it needs a lot, but that number isn't as big as some of these total rehabs that we see. Make sure that, yep, so this is, they're asking $79,000 for it. Kind of typical for what we're seeing in properties of this condition as of late, and they're going. People are buying these and putting some pretty massive investment in them. So if you're in the position, you're either a contractor or you have a close relationship with a contractor where you can make these kind of projects work, then not so bad. But here's what this property looks like. As long as this number isn't, beyond a -2, 2.5 or so, I'm not too fearful. It's a solid 675 or whatnot. If we look at fully financing it, that number changes. This is if you were to have to finance out the construction cost as well. Sometimes the financing works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't, and this one doesn't look great when you got to finance that whole thing. That's the $80,000 purchase price plus another $90,000 in repairs. So it could be a little bit of a trap depending on how you do this. Make sure you do your numbers tightly to figure out what you're gonna do. That's all I got for this one. There's been a lot of inquiries about this property for whatever reason. It's caught in everybody's eyes, and they've been asking about it quite a bit. So I hope this was useful. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to email me at Robert the Lucrative Landlord, and please subscribe.